expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
The name's Bond.
James Bond.
Since 1962, James Bond has become a household name, with 6 actors donning the iconic tugs. The film franchise isn't going anywhere, from vodka martinis to Bond girls to the drama, and not forgetting the cars themselves. But I wanted to find out, is there a car on the market today that gets the iconic Bond car feel? I'm here in Manchester as a third-year media student, and I'm looking at how product placement in the James Bond franchise could potentially have an impact by showing Bond, or anyone else, driving an affordable or even an electric car. These days, we're all used to high-speed or modified vintage cars taking over our screens in the latest blockbuster. But first, we have to look at Bond himself. Who is he? Well, Bond is a character created by Ian Fleming in a post-Second World War Britain. Fleming himself wrote 14 books, with Bond being featured on the big screen across 26 films. With 6 different actors as the lead, we all know who Bond is. He's a killer, he's a serial womanizer, he drives fantastic cars. But one thing that is certain, James Bond likes the finer things in life. But what about the cars? Bond, or 007, has obviously driven many cars across the years. Today you'd imagine Bond to drive something like an Aston Martin, but that's not always been the case. Originally in the books by Ian Fleming, Bond drove an old Bentley, but on screen we've seen 007 drive BMWs, Jaguars, a Toyota, and even a Ford Mondeo. So is it really unrealistic to imagine Bond in a car that you could pick up for less than £25,000? Of course, what features within the Bond films is down to product placement, hence BMWs in the 80s, Aston Martins today. Brands want to show off the biggest and the best, and at the end of the day, the cars we see on screen are a result of who has the most money. But in a hypothetical world, regardless of the sponsorships and product placement within the film, imagine if we do get to see a car that you can just go down to the garage one day and pick up for an affordable price. So what type of car do we go for, and in product placement in Bond already? Well, everything that we've seen so far is sophisticated, sleek, modern at the time, and British. Everything featured has British roots of some sorts. Like, hence you look at the Rolex, you look at Bollinger, you look at the Churchill cigars. Everything in there you can see, and you can still get them today. And the product placement within the Bond film, they all make a huge impact. Like, look at Heineken in Skyfall. Sales went up over 5% because they saw Daniel Craig as Bond drinking them within a week. Without talking too much about Heineken, Bollinger, and all the other good stuff, I need to get down to the detail of what car can I see Bond driving? I mean, you've got your Nissan GTRs, you've got your Ford Focuses. I can't really see Bond driving anything like that. So I thought, what about the Vauxhall Corsa? So when you think about your Bond cars, you don't often think about the Vauxhall Corsa. You tend to think of sporty cars, cars with unique character. But what if I were to tell you that the Vauxhall Corsa has all the character needed for the next Bond? So when you actually look at the Corsa itself, it's a very different type of car. Gone are the days where you think young teenager in a car park on a Friday night. Now it's more about sophistication, style, with a little bit of class as well. Now on paper, most people have driven a Corsa, most people have been in a Corsa, most people have seen what a Corsa's like to drive. But this one, it sort of feels different. It captures elements that I didn't realise were missing in the Corsa before. And in a way, I do sort of feel like I could be in a Bond film. So actually sat in the car, it feels high-tech to a point. Gone are the days where your buttons are all down here. Everything's easily accessible on the wheel or on the Apple Play screen. It does make me feel like Bond. It feels like Q should be sending me some missions through the screen and I could be accessing them and plotting missile strikes and stuff. Yeah, I can see Bond driving a car like this. The Corsa does do everything needed to feel like the perfect Bond car on a budget. Yeah, I won't be driving it over a frozen lake or through walls, but in the age of today, with more and more cars becoming electric, and the new Corsa having an E-model available on the market too, is it too hard to believe that one day James Bond could be seen driving the new Vauxhall Corsa hatchback, or possibly an electric car? I mean, Daniel Craig did drive a Ford Mondeo, and at the starting price of around £18,000 and a 0 to 60 between 8 to 12 seconds, you really cannot go wrong. The Corsa itself is a fantastic car, and when you drive the latest model, you feel like you have all the time in the world.